Hey everyone, and welcome. Today we're diving into something called the arc of awareness. It's basically a framework for getting a handle on our own inner worlds. And this isn't about, changing who you are. It's really about building a skill to see yourself with way more clarity. So let's jump right in. And this whole thing kicks off with a really powerful idea. Just like it says here, awareness isn't some far-off destination you get to when you're older. Nope, it's a muscle, a skill that you can start training right now. It's all about getting to know that complex, fascinating world you're already carrying around inside you. So, let's start with the basics. What in the world is an arc? Well, the big idea here is that every single moment of real understanding, I mean the big aha moments and the small ones, it all follows a specific shape, a pattern that we can actually learn to spot. Think about it for a sec. You ever had a friend say something that just, landed wrong? At first, you're just kind of confused, right? Then you feel this thing in your gut. And then, all of a sudden, it clicks. You realize exactly why it bothered you. Well, that whole little journey, that's an arc.
So that's what an arc is, really. It's just the map of that shift in your awareness. It's the path you take from being confused to getting clarity, from seeing things one way to seeing them in a new, more informed way. And the crazy part is, this is happening all the time, whether we notice it or not.
And check this out. This breaks down that journey perfectly. It always has a beginning, right? Some kind of question or a feeling that pops up. Then it moves into this middle phase of discovery, where you're sort of exploring and noticing stuff. And finally, it lands you at a new understanding. 3 really clear stages. All right, so that leads us to this next really cool concept, your inner ecology. The idea here is to think of your inner world not as this messy jumble of random feelings, but as a living, breathing system where everything is connected. It's kind of like your own personal environment. So, how do you start exploring that environment? Well, with your attention. I love this metaphor. Your attention is like a flashlight. You and only you get to decide where you point it. You can shine it on your breathing, on your thoughts, on a feeling in your chest. And that choice, that's where awareness begins. So where do you point that flashlight first? It all starts with the body, with pure physical sensation. Just imagine a teacher calls on you in class. Before you even have a word for what's happening, you might notice a rush of heat to your face or your throat getting tight. That right there, that's raw data. And right on the heels of that physical feeling, boom, an emotion shows up. That heat in your face isn't just heat anymore. It's now connected to a feeling. The tightness in your stomach gets a name, anxiety. So the emotion is what adds that first layer of meaning to what your body is telling you. And then your mind jumps into the game, trying to make sense of that emotion. This is where thought comes in. A thought is basically an interpretation, an attempt to explain the feeling. So that anxiety suddenly gets a voice, and it's saying something like, "Oh no, I am totally gonna mess this up." And this is where it gets really interesting. Those thoughts start linking together, and they form a bigger narrative, a story. So the thought, "I'm going to mess this up," can morph into this huge story about your identity. "I'm just not good at this." And that whole chain reaction, sensation, emotion, thought, story, that's your inner ecology at work. Okay, if you remember one thing from this whole section, let it be this. Our thoughts feel so real. They feel like solid facts, but they're not. They are just the mind's best guess, its interpretation of what's going on. And just seeing that little bit of space between a thought and a fact, wow, that is a total game changer. Okay, so now let's zoom out a little bit, because our inner world, our inner ecology, it doesn't just exist in a bubble. The Arc of Awareness framework shows how our personal experience is connected to this much bigger picture through 4 key dimensions. And here's the full map. We've talked a lot about your inner ecology, but that's also plugged into your family arc, all the patterns and roles you learned growing up. Then there's the cultural arc, which is like the unspoken rules of the society we live in. And the glue holding it all together is the practice arc, the daily habits and tools we use to navigate everything else. And just to give you a taste of the family arc, check out some of these common roles. Do any of these sound familiar? Are you the peacekeeper, always trying to smooth things over? Or maybe the responsible one, who's always fixing things? These roles we learn as kids can become our default settings, They shape how we act at school, with our friends, pretty much everywhere. And that ties right into the cultural arc, which is about noticing the bigger, invisible roles we all follow, like how our culture defines success or which emotions are okay to show.
Okay, so this brings us to the really practical part. Because understanding all this is awesome, but awareness is a skill. And just like any other skill, it gets stronger when you practice it and have the right tools.
Here's a perfect example of a super simple tool, the 4-2-6 breath. You just breathe in for 4 seconds, hold it gently for 2, and then breathe out slowly for 6 seconds. That longer exhale actually sends a direct signal to your nervous system that you're safe, which can help calm you down when you're feeling stressed. It's so simple, but it really works.
And what's so great about this whole approach is that it doesn't have to be some big, formal meditation session. It's all about these little micro practices. You can do a quick one-breath reset before a tough conversation, or just label a feeling. This is anxiety. You can even do a quick story check and ask yourself, is this story my mind is telling me 100% true? All these little moments really, really add up. So, as we start to wrap this up, just remember this. The arc of awareness isn't some rigid rule book you have to follow. Think of it more like a personal map. It's your guide to your own inner landscape. And just like you, that map is meant to change and evolve over time. Which leaves us with this final, really powerful question. These patterns, these shifts in understanding, these arcs, they're happening all the time, in every moment. The arc is always there, always unfolding. The only question is, will you choose to see it